everyone on YouTube, hope your day is going well. Just wanted to pitch in my thoughts on the skate news. The EA did a recent video titling about the latest skate going free to play, and I thought I'd give some of my thoughts on the free to play news and what that might hold for skate in as a whole. Um, my thoughts really, this could be either a really positive, well, I say a really positive thing, it's not really positive because it's going to be filled with microtransactions. That's what at least we know. They'll be charging for cosmetic items, but this also may mean, on the other hand, they constantly update the game. But this is either going to be a good thing or a terribly bad thing. So let's see, explore the options and what could happen in regards to it, the good and bad. So the bad news on one hand is that if Skate goes free to play and it's available to everyone, that's a good thing. But also what this opens up to is them essentially charging a lot of money for cosmetic items, and they could be season passes or pay for convenience items. So say for example, you might unlock this through, I don't know, well, there's always been story progression, but who knows what's going to happen in the new game. So for example, in the story you could unlock a new character, a new playable skater, or you could unlock a new piece of clothing item. Well, is it going to be the case where you're going to have to pay like $5, £5, $10, whatever that may be, to unlock the skater, and to pay for that convenience, which will be a bad thing? And this leads on to, is it going to be a direct story, or are they going to just focus more on the social aspect of thing, of just it being an open world and leaving it up to the players to create their own fun? Because for me, Skate was always about that story. I've always liked the stories in the later Tony Hawk's games, in like Underground 1, Underground 2, and so on, American Wasteland for example. I always enjoyed playing through the story mode, and if this is going to be the case in Skate terms, whether they're going to scrap a story, who knows yet, the game's in early development. But if they're going to focus on more on the predatory systems that have been introduced over the years with games at the moment, it's not going to be a good thing. So everyone's been waiting for a skate game. I've been waiting for a skate game for many years. Let's face it, there is skate games on Steam and Xbox now. These Session and Skater XL, but those games are nowhere near on the level of what EA could produce with Skate. We know Skate 3, the last great skateboarding game in terms of that more realistic approach, slightly more realistic. We had the Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remakes, which I adore the Tony Hawk's franchise, one of my favourites, but it's a very unrealistic depiction of skateboarding. So Skate was always that alternative where Skate 1, 2 and 3. 3 was the most played, but to a lesser extent it was the worst out of the trio. But I still enjoyed that greatly. It's still a great game, in comparison to what we've got today. So, looking at this, it kind of dampens the news a bit that it's going free to play, and who knows? It's hard to tell at this point. Whether this is going to be a good thing for the game or a bad thing. And if we look at some of the more positive points, with the news of free to play, I mean, people might say there's not many positives, but one positive for me is that if it's being treated as like an ongoing service, this could keep the game being constantly fresh, like new environments or new updates. Or, but on the other hand, directly from this is how much money. Obviously, being EA, they're going to charge money for it. So how much are they going to charge for these updates? Say there's a new area of the map as like a DLC pack. that they introduce sometime in the future, is that going to cost a lot of money? Is it going to cost £10, £15? And are people going to be willing to keep forking out cash when, in my eyes, I just prefer to pay the money up front, as like we all do, and get a complete game, and and it be updated as well. Kind of like fuck that. Where we're constantly paying for updates and cosmetics or whatever. We've always had that, where you pay for the game, you unlock it through progression. That gives the player the sense of achievement to aim for a goal. Now, you know, if they're going to implement this, it's gonna for the game to stay alive. It's going to have to be implemented well. I mean, look what happened to Battlefield 2042. I know it's a completely different game, but EA as a whole, above the game developers, have got that corporate aspect to it where they just want to get the money of people instead of the main goal of making a great game, and then the money will come afterwards because you've made a great game. People are not going to stay in the game if you've got all these predatory business models in the game. Pay for this, pay for that, pay for this, whatever. This is complete bullshit. Where I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. But if they're going down this route, um, we could put a positive spin on it, and the positive spin would be that it'd be constantly updated if the player base, if it maintained the player base. I think if it's not got a good response when it comes out, you know, um, people are going to leave the game and go back to the old games. I mean, from what I've seen, there's some of the leaked alpha footage of the game. It does look really fluid. It probably looks like, from a gameplay perspective, one of the most fluid skateboarding experiences that we're going to get. And in terms of, like, if we look at that gameplay kind of style, from that angle that we're looking at it from, just from early impressions, it looks from that level like it's going to be a real step up. Because, in my honest opinion, like I said previous, we've had recent skate games, Session, Skater XL. Those games, in comparison to the old games like Skate 1 and 2, are just nowhere near the level of what Skate can achieve because of the budget as well. I give my credit to the developers of Session, and Skater XL. They've got a minuscule budget compared to Skate, but they're just nowhere near on the level. And to be honest, with Session's new updates, the gameplay's got a lot more clunkier than it was in the previous iteration. So to me, Session, for example, is going down. It's releasing in September, out of early access. It's not ready to release in September. The game's still way off completion. Really, it just feels empty after a bit of the world. Whereas in comparison, Skate always felt like a breathable city. It felt like people were living in it. It felt like you were just a part of it. Skateboarding along, and that's what made it so good. Is that it felt like a world to explore, spots where you can land some sick tricks or whatever. You could string a combo together. And that's what made the world special in Skate. Is that it was a believable world as well. It was a believable city with traffic, cars, pedestrians all going about the daily life. So if the developers of Skate now, still have that story mode and that challenge and that open world, then it'll succeed. It all relies on how they are going to implement this free-to-play model. It's really concerning, because it has the potential to mess up the game, and I don't want it to mess up the game. They really need to be careful, and I just hope them EA execs are not tinkering too much, tampering with the game fundamentally too much, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to make them less money when they're trying to make more. People hate that crap, and I don't know why they're still pushing it, because they must be in deluded land to keep thinking players are going to shell out hundreds of pounds on cosmetic items, and you know, when we've always earned them for free in this style of game. So thanks for listening to my thoughts and opinions, and if you appreciate this, you know, leave a comment down below, you know, get that discussion going, what your opinions are. And you know, if you enjoyed the video, there'll be more videos to come. If you want to subscribe. If you don't. You know, if you like the content, you know, hit the subscribe button. I'll appreciate that, and I'll be making more videos soon. Thanks very much.